Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, I'm going to show you a cool puzzle that is quite peculiar here. So look at the number of pawns on the board. It's white to move and checkmate in exactly 5 moves. It might be harder than you think. The first move might be obvious here, but all the other moves are kind of tough to see. Try to see if you can figure out all the different ways this can go down and the one checkmate in 5 that exists in this position for white. While you're thinking about this, let me quickly encourage you to subscribe if you have not yet already. Half of the income that I earn in this channel goes directly to charity, so every like, every subscriber helps me out so much. Okay, let's get to the puzzle here. So it's white to move and checkmate in 5. It may seem like the first move is obvious, and I think I'll go right to it, which is to queen the pawn. But if you considered something else, maybe like this type of move to stalemate the king, that is a good idea, but it's not going to be checkmate in 5. It'll instead be checkmate in 6. They can play f3, and you can kind of play this out if you want. The point is it's not going to be mate in 5. Okay, so instead, you start with h8 equals queen. Great. Now, what is the point here? How do you find the checkmate in 5? Well, now 4, because I just made this promotion. Well, you have to think about what black can do. And the reason why I selected this puzzle to show is just the artistic nature of this puzzle. Really quickly, if they play f takes e, you have this really nice queen h2 mate in 1. Kind of weird, right? How that works? The queen just jumping from one to the next. Okay, what if after you promote to a queen, they move a pawn? Let's say they move, well, they can't move this pawn, it's pinned. Let's say they move this pawn. What do you do? Well, you have a nice little mate here. You have queen h5 check, they have to block, and look at the geometry. Queen h8 check. Look at, that's mate, by the way. The king's holding this down, the pawns are blocking them in, and of course the pawn on d3 is holding down e4. So really the main line here to calculate is what happens if they take with the d pawn. And this is why I want to show this puzzle. So if you already see where this is going, write down in the comments, what do you think is going to happen? After d takes e3, where does this queen go? Well, it just went to h8 because it promoted. Now it's going to go queen a8. It's going to swoop around to the other side of the board, and now we're looking at a1, we're looking at a5, all those types of things. Well, black now has a few options, right? If they want to get greedy, they can keep taking. We'll look at that right now. Let's say you take. Is that going to win? Well, no, because look at the way these pawns are cutting off these light squares, and you can make the move queen a1 mate. Isn't that crazy how you can go from h8 to a8 to a1 mate? Kind of a cool little sequence, right? Okay, but they don't have to take here. What if they do something else? What if they play like f3? Well, you can still mate in 3 from here. You can play d takes e3, and no matter what they do next, you're going to probably play queen a1 mate. So, or leading to mate. Let's say they play, the best resistance here is d5, and you play queen a1, and they block, and you take. So you went from here to a8 to to a8 to a1 and then d4. Isn't that cool, the geometry of this puzzle? Okay, so what is the best resistance after I play queen a8? Well, it turns out the best resistance is d5 in this initial position. Not taking here, not pushing. Now I play queen a1 check. They have to block. That's the only move. And now what's the best move? You have a guess? I went from here to here to here. If you had to guess, where do you think I'm going next? Where is the asymmetry in my colors on the board here? You're right if you guessed it. Queen h1. Look at this. I play queen h1, completing this little cycle here, and no matter what you do next, I'm going to checkmate you. How cool is this puzzle? You play something like f3, trying to block this diagonal? That's okay. Queen h2. Simple little step up, and this is mate. Okay, what if you don't move this pawn? Instead you, I don't know, take here. Well, look at these squares. They're covered by pawns. Bang. Queen e4 is mate. Okay, so this pawn is out, that pawn is out. There are still 2 other pawns that can move. What if I play the coolest move, in my opinion, the coolest variation, f5? You go queen h8 mate. Look at the beautiful nature of this puzzle. Just look at this particular variation. You went from h8 when you started to a8 to a1 to h1 to a8 to give mate. How amazing is that? If you think that's cool, you gotta let me know in the comments. I want to read it. I like seeing the feedback. It's so cool that other people find this cool. It's not just me. So, okay, what about the other pawn? What do we do? Well, the principal threat here is queen e4, so that does not stop me. That's still going to be mate. And you can look at other variations here, but really the whole point of this puzzle, going all the way back, is the geometry of it. You can play queen h8, and depending on what they do, the longest resistance for them is really just watching them go in circles. It is a super, super cool puzzle, and I just think you got to see the geometry of these things. Look at this. Bang, bang. Look at that. How cool is this puzzle? Boom. That's mate for the win. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know. Be sure to like and subscribe. All that stuff helps me out so much. But until next time, bye.